What else do I need to start? I'm sharing my screen. What else do I need to do? Anything else? No, right? So today we are going to listen a little bit, okay, about some stories. Because I want you to know how real life is in the hotel world. Ooh. You saw some of those, right? We saw the video last week, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, please talk, because if you guys don't talk, I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh my goodness, I'm typing on the wrong computer. The wrong keyboard.
I recently won Apprentice of the Year, which meant that one of my prizes was to be a GM for the day. So I'm here today at the Hilton Brighton Metropole with Sasha. So I'm shadowing him today on hopefully learning how to be a general manager for the future of my career as well. If I'm honest, when I finished my GCSEs, I genuinely thought I wouldn't get a job because I literally had no confidence at all. And then since I've been in the apprenticeship, I was a receptionist, and then I got promoted twice while being in an apprenticeship. So I definitely think that had an impact on my confidence.
I want to show Elizabeth a little bit what it's like running and working in a busy hotel on a very exciting day where there are a lot of groups and conferences arriving, meeting, lunching. She'll see a little bit about how we forecast, how we look at what our business levels are like, what rates we need to be adjusting for the next few days and weeks. And she'll hopefully give us quite a lot of valuable insight into what we could be doing better from our guest experience perspective when she joins our wildly important goal meeting in the afternoon.
They have a higher discount, but again, it's just getting that knowledge around.
I think it's a nice idea.
I found it very interesting to look at the forecast, to see it in a more detailed perspective and get to ask Sasha questions in regards to it. I enjoyed that a lot. So how many rooms do you have?
340. As you see from those green days, we're fully booked quite frequently.
Oh.
The apprenticeship program is a great way of getting introduced to the hospitality industry. We in Brighton have been super lucky that we've had a number of very, very successful apprentices, some of which still work with us today. So they're the future of the industry.
I think to succeed in an apprenticeship, you need to be open-minded. You just need to have passion about the job that you're in, and I think if you have passion, you can go anywhere with it, really.
It's a great, rewarding career where you can really
Professor.
progression in terms of advancement in career. You can travel the world and really have fun.
I cannot hear clear. Can you turn on the caps, the subtitle?
My GCSEs, so just try something new, be open-minded, and enjoy the experience.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So you want to watch it again?
Yes, please.
Okay, just for you.
I recently won Apprentice of the Year, which meant that one of my prizes was to be a GM for the day. So I'm here today at the Hilton Brighton Metropole with Sasha. So I'm shadowing him today on hopefully learning how to be a general manager for the future of my career as well. If I'm honest, when I finished my GCSEs, I genuinely thought I wouldn't get a job because I literally had no confidence at all. And then since I've been in the apprenticeship, I was a receptionist and then I got promoted twice while being in an apprenticeship. So I definitely think that had an impact on my confidence.
I want to show Elizabeth a little bit what it's like running and working in a busy hotel on a very exciting day where there are a lot of groups and conferences arriving, meeting, lunching. She'll see a little bit about how we forecast, how we look at what our business levels are like, what rates we need to be adjusting for the next few days and weeks. And she'll hopefully give us quite a lot of valuable insight into what we could be doing better from our guest experience perspective when she joins our wildly important goal meeting in the afternoon.
They have a higher discount, but again, it's just getting that knowledge around.
I think that's a nice idea.
I found it very interesting to look at the forecast, to see it in a more detailed perspective and get to ask Sasha questions in regards to it. I enjoyed that a lot. So how many rooms do you have?
340. As you see from those green days, we're fully booked quite frequently.
Oh.
The apprenticeship program is a great way of getting introduced to the hospitality industry. We in Brighton have been super lucky that we've had a number of very, very successful apprentices, some of which still work with us today. So they're the future of the industry.
I think to succeed in an apprenticeship, you need to be open-minded. You just need to have passion about the job that you're in. And I think if you have passion, you can go anywhere with it, really.
It's a great, rewarding career where you can really make fast progression in terms of advancement in career. You can travel the world and really have fun while working as well.
I really didn't think I'd have a job after my GCSEs. So just try something new, be open-minded and enjoy the experience.
Okay.
You just got promoted, you are new in your manager role, congratulations. Especially at the beginning in your new position, you surely don't want to make any unnecessary mistakes, right? You want to become a good manager. In this video, I give you my 5 best tips on leadership as a new manager or supervisor. Stay tuned. If you want to learn more about leadership and career, do subscribe to my channel by clicking on the bell. You will then be notified automatically about new videos uploaded. Yesterday, you were an administrative worker, and today you are a team leader or a group leader. That's great. But now you think, what do you have to do to be accepted and respected in your new role by your team members as well as by your boss, right from the start? What's important, especially during the first weeks? What makes the difference? What do you need to keep in mind? I was managing director at a large corporation for a number of years, as well as CEO of my own startup company. I ended up leading about 350 employees worldwide, and I made my mistakes during that time. But over the years, I've learned what really matters as a manager and how leadership actually works. Here are my 5 tips for you as a newly appointed manager. First, know your boss's expectations of you. How good you are in your job and whether or not you perform well, that's something not you or your team members assess, but only your boss. Therefore, make sure to understand precisely what is expected of you in your new role. Only if you truly know the expectations, you will be able to adopt and live up to them. For that reason, ask your manager to meet with you. Ask him what is important to him and how can you help him? What does your boss think what your priorities should be in the coming weeks? What should you keep in mind while working together, and what kind of communication does he want? Get to know your boss, how he thinks, how he works. Which decisions can you make on your own, and on which ones does he want to be involved? And how does he want to be involved? My new team leader is driving me crazy. He sends me a copy of almost all his emails, as my inbox isn't overflowing already. What the hell do I need all this information for? How exactly wants your boss to be kept in the loop? Does he just want a short email once a week? Or does he want to be informed about everyone and everything at all times, and maybe even expects a detailed report every other day, perhaps even including a 5 pages Excel sheet every day? Try to find out. And to make it clear again, it's not you who decide whether you're doing a great job or not, it's your boss. And his assessment is based on whether or not you meet his expectations. Sorry, but that's how it works. Number 2, don't rely only on facts, data, and figures alone. So, Mr. Miller, as you know, I'm your new boss now, and I'm looking forward to work together with you. But enough chatting. Let's get right to the point. Facts is what is most important to me. Facts, facts, facts. So, could you please show me this year and last year's numbers, the budget, target, actual, and you know, all the good stuff. Take your time for a conversation with your employees and colleagues. It's not just about asking for reports and numbers and data and facts. Really, it's about people. It's about understanding the people that work in your organization. What drives them? Why are they doing what they do? Listen to their earlier successes and difficulties. Keep asking so you can truly understand, and most importantly, don't judge or evaluate, at least not during the first days. During the first weeks, you try to get a glimpse, get a picture how the organization ticks and how it functions. When are the decisions made? How, by whom, and why? Try to get a feel for it. How people and departments or teams really work is nothing you can see in spreadsheets and organizational charts, but you rather need to know or get a feeling for unwritten rules and hidden agendas. Only then you can avoid dropping a brick accidentally. Number 3, avoid actionism. The first 4 to 6 weeks as a new leader are your orientation phase. What matters during this time is for you to understand your environment, your team members and colleagues, and to find your role. At this point, you shouldn't make any changes, even if your employees would like you to change things up. Because in the beginning, you are not familiar with hidden and unwritten rules, and you don't know the customs in the organization. You can't see the full extent of the existing power relations yet, but you need this information. You need this information to make a good assessment. Some rules and principles that may seem pointless to you in the beginning might start to make sense since you understand how and why they actually came into place. Try first to comprehend and understand. Only make far-reaching decisions if you can really assess what impact they will have. Number 4, don't speak badly about your predecessor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, from today on, I'm your new head of department, and I had a good look at everything here in this company. And to be very honest, I'm not surprised that we are not market leader. there's a lot that needs to be changed. The way that you as a team performed in the past years was, to put it mildly, not ideal. Your work leaves a lot to be desired. There's much room for improvement. Don't do that. Be appreciative towards the organization's past and towards the employees, towards the team members and the colleagues and their earlier successes. Even if it wasn't all that good, and even if you already know that some things need to change, hold back. Hold back on your assessment. What my predecessor has left me with here is nothing short of an absolute mess. It seems like apart from going on business trips, he hasn't done much at all. And did I mention, don't speak negative about your predecessor. Not in your introductory speech and not later. Number 5, don't aim to be popular. As a leader, you are no longer just one of many in the team. You are the team leader now. You are the boss, not a buddy from work anymore. You have to reconsider your previous communications and behavior, and most likely make adjustments in one domain or another to adapt your new role. The real issues that a leader or manager has to deal with are almost never specialist or technical subjects, but it's the interpersonal relationships. Exactly. And that is why I also engage with my employees in activities apart from work as well. We are like a big family. I'm friends with most of my colleagues, with my employees. I help them. I help my employees wherever I can. I'm here for them. You know, it's so important to me that my team members appreciate and like me. I see. But be careful. As a leader, you need to find the right balance between closeness and distance to your employees. Of course, it's a great feeling to know that you are liked by your team members, but it's not the goal of successful leadership to be popular. What's paramount is that you are respected, and not because of your position, but because of your behavior. Being a leader is about establishing trust. You don't need to be or try to become best friends with your employees. Your goal should be to become trustworthy and to be fair and honest in everything you do. If you enjoyed watching my video, please let me know by giving me a like or thumb up here on YouTube. Thank you very much and see you next time. As a leader, you should have one-on-one meetings with your direct reports regularly. But how do you introduce one-on-ones to your direct reports? How does such a one-on-one meeting work? How do you get started? And what exactly should you say in such meetings? I'll answer all of that in this video. Stay tuned. For more leadership advice, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. During my time as a manager, I had lots of meetings with my direct reports. However, from today's point of view, I should have conducted one-on-one meetings more frequently, much more frequently, and especially regularly. Over time, I realized how valuable this management tool, the one-on-one meetings, is, and how important it is to build trust with your direct reports. When I talk to executives about these one-on-ones, I often hear, I know that I should regularly take the time to talk to each of my direct reports, but I don't have time for that. There's always so much to do. Well, if the one-on-ones are important to you, I mean, really important, then you should find the time to talk to each of your direct reports at least 20 minutes every week, or at least every 14 days. Of course, this is easier said than done, but in the long run, believe me, these conversations will bring you an incredible return on investment. They save you a lot of time and they save you a lot of money. If you do it right, you will get motivated people. people who will think along similar lines and pull in the same direction along with you. These one-on-ones, they will help you to get to know your employees better and better. But most important here, you build trust. Trust which makes it easier for you to delegate tasks. If you have one-on-ones regularly, you will become much better at understanding what's going on with your employee and how you can support them. Okay, and what do I have to consider for these one-on-one meetings? Well, first, it's a conversation between two people. If possible, these conversations should take place in a quiet, relaxed environment that can, but doesn't have to be in the office. You can also have such a conversation during a walk together, so to say, a meeting on the go. Second, focus on your direct report. It's so important that you are focused on the matter and only concentrate on your employee. No distraction. Avoid interruption of any kind. And in such a one-on-one meeting, it's clear that your smartphone is switched off. Shh. I don't have to point that out, do I? Third, a one-on-one is an employee meeting. Why is it called like that? That's because the employee talks more than the boss. It's mainly the time of the employee spending with his manager, not the other way around. Well, but how do I start such a conversation and what should I talk about? Okay, let's focus about the rough process of one-on-one meetings first. Each one-on-one is different. They are unique because people are unique. But nevertheless, especially if you have just officially started a regular one-on-one meetings, it might be beneficial to provide a rough framework. For simplicity, let's assume we have 30 minutes for a one-on-one. You can then divide these 30-minute one-on-ones into 3 10-minute parts. For example, part 1, employees time only. In that part, you start the conversation with a question and then you just listen. This is the time when your direct report wants to discuss matters or gives you information that are important to him or her. They want to know that this is the time where you just listen. Part 2, the manager addresses issues such as giving feedback, for instance. You can also inform about goals or talk about organizational changes and hear your employees' opinion on strategy or anything else. And part 3, that's about the future. What is in store for the next few days? What are your plans? What are her or his plans? If you've agreed on actions to be carried out in part 1 or 2, then you can briefly summarize them at the end of the one-on-one meeting. As I said before, these 3 parts are just a rough framework, a kind of guideline, if you want, a guideline that can be helpful to you, especially when you start one-on-one meetings with your direct reports, and if you haven't done it before. The meetings don't necessarily have to be 30 minutes. Start with 50 minutes or 20 minutes. The individual parts can also be of different length. The employee has many things to discuss. Just talk about them and skip the other parts. That's okay. The key is just start with one-on-ones. And very important, do one-on-ones regularly. And I mean weekly or at least bi-weekly. I feel stupid about it. I don't know how to start the conversation. What should I talk about? Good question. I've put together a free checklist for one-on-one meetings with examples and tips how to conduct one-on-one meetings. You'll find the link to the free download in the YouTube description and in the comments. If you introduce one-on-ones, you may feel uncomfortable at the beginning. That's normal. The situation may seem strange to you. What does the employee think about me when I suddenly start with such personal one-on-one meetings? Just hang in there. it's worse. You can easily start a one-on-one by asking open questions. Open questions like, John, how is it going? How are you doing? Or, John, what's your biggest challenge? Your biggest challenge right now? You may also ask, is there anything I can currently support you with? If these questions don't lead to anything, you can also ask about current developments in the company. For example, John, what do you think of our recent organizational change? What's your take on that? All the questions are used to break the ice and start a conversation with your employee. Get involved, be interested in her or his opinion, and ask. You can also ask questions like, where did you feel friction in the last week? Were there specific meetings or situations where we as a team can improve? Or another question could be, you know that we strive in our company for customer satisfaction, but I also know that some of our rules and customer processes are not ideal at all. I'm interested in your opinion. Where do we need to improve? What needs to change in your opinion? Of course, you could also ask your employee, I'm interested, what feedback do you have for me? Where can I as a manager improve? For example, what do you want me to do more and what should I do less? But always keep in mind that's your job to start with such open questions. After that, that's important, you listen actively. You can ask if you don't understand something, but you listen carefully. If you are introducing one-on-ones, explain to your employees why you are doing it. What are the talks roughly be about, and what advantages does your employee have or gain from it if you start this kind of one-on-ones? Do you know what most employees consider the greatest advantage of such kind of meetings, one-on-ones? It's the undisturbed, undivided time they can spend with their manager. Your employees, they know very well that you are always under time pressure. So if you take your time and spend them with them, that shows appreciation. I, the employee, am important to my boss because otherwise he wouldn't spend regularly time with me, right? By the way, if thinking about starting one-on-one still makes you feel uncomfortable, just talk about it. It's not weakness, but strength when you talk about that kind of feeling. For example, you can say to your employee when you start the one-on-ones the following. John, I'd like to conduct one-on-one meetings with each of my direct reports on a regular basis. This is very important to me because I believe that if we spend more time together, we will understand each other better and I can support you much better in your work. So to be honest, right now, starting with the one-on-ones, that still feels a bit unusual or even awkward to me. But I strongly believe it's important to start with it and it will help us to improve working together. So how's it going with you? Is there something I can currently support you with? By conducting one-on-ones, you offer your employees a forum to exchange ideas with you. Of course, your employees also want to hear your opinion, but it's particularly important that your employees can share their thoughts and issues with you and that you are interested in it. Therefore, one-on-one meetings are not about you, they're about your employees. Be sincerely interested in them, in your employees, in the job they do, and in their personality. I promise that one-on-ones will be a game changer in your leadership if you start with them. They pay off in the long term for everyone involved. I've put together a checklist for one-on-one meetings. You can download this checklist for free. You'll find the link to that in the YouTube description and in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you soon.
So you heard from Bernd Gerb, okay? Now, the other things I want you to listen to is Skiff. Library. Library. Okay, so let's listen to the newest forum that happened and
Please welcome
listen
President and CEO of Hilton, Chris
Hilton
Nassetta, in
Corporation's
conversation
president,
with Skift
Chris
founder and
Nassetta.
CEO, Joseph Dani.
All right, folks, this is the session we've been waiting for. Thank you for
Very
staying.
exciting.
We
See how he shows up.
when we first started thinking about this screen is a very complex affair. This obviously looks very simple. I want to thank Art Media Inc. That is that's the company behind this tech that you're about to see, and they've just done an incredible job. This is days and days and days and weeks of planning for this particular session to happen as well. So let's bring up Chris Nassetta. Let's give him in.
This is a hologram.
All right, Chris. Thank you for being here. This is certainly a very novel experience for you. It's also a very novel experience for us as well. This is our first ever conference that we're bringing a speaker in as hologram. Are you enjoying the experience so far, Chris?
I am. Thanks for having me. When you asked me to do this and do it by hologram, I couldn't help but say yes, because I've done lots of public speaking all over the world, obviously mostly live these days, through COVID, certainly some virtual, but I've never done a hologram. So I don't know how it looks.
It looks great.
Really enjoying this first experience.
Can you
And it was great to see you in the region. I'm sorry I'm not there now, but as you know, I was there a couple of weeks ago in the region, so it was difficult to get back. So to everybody in the audience, I'm sorry I'm not there live, and we're subjecting you to this technology. Hopefully it's working well over time. It's great to see you in Riyadh for the World Travel and Tourism Global Summit, which was a spectacular success, I think, with 3,000 folks from travel and tourism all over the world, seeing what the Middle East has to offer. So great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for doing this. When we thought of people who we wanted, your name, trust me, was the first name that came to mind and says we have to get Chris because he's going to be totally game for this. So let's talk Middle East, since we were both in Saudi just 10 days ago or so. From a Hilton perspective, why are you so interested in this region, and what is your hopes from this region for Hilton?
Well, I've been traveling to the Middle East for decades, probably 30 years or so, maybe even longer. I'm forgetting how many years I've been doing this. I'm going on 40 years in the industry, and to see what's been happening in this region has been awe-inspiring. The commitment of the region to travel and tourism over these last couple of decades has been extraordinary. And the opportunity, I think, for all of us and for the region, to continue to build out the infrastructure for travel and tourism and to continue to bring more people to the Middle East to see all that it has to offer, I find fascinating. And from the standpoint of Hilton, we view it as one of the most important growth regions. Triple presence there,
Technical difficulties
about the opportunities in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which are extraordinary given the investment that's going on there. But in Dubai is I wish I was there. I feel like I'm there. In Dubai, when I got to the company, I've been at Hilton 15 years now, almost to the day. We had one hotel in Dubai. In the UAE, I think we had 3 hotels. If you fast forward in the UAE today, we have 35 hotels open and another 15 that are going to open in the next couple of years. So, in that, in the UAE, we think there's extraordinary growth. In Saudi Arabia, we think, but the region overall, I think has extraordinary opportunities in front of it. And that's because people want to be there. Infrastructure is getting built out. There's been a real commitment in terms of strategy in parts of the Middle East, but more importantly, backed up by significant investment in infrastructure to make it a reality.
And one of the things that obviously is possible in this part of the world that maybe is not possible in part of the world that you and I live in is the public-private partnership, which is the biggest thing that obviously enables tourism. You are not just the CEO of Hilton, you were the chairman of the board of WTTC, you're very involved with governments as well.
Years, yeah.
And so the public-private partnership, talk about the importance of public-private partnership in building these tourism economies that we just wish is there in our part of the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the maturation of travel and tourism in different parts of the world, obviously many parts of the West, including here in the U.S., but in Europe, are more mature travel and tourism markets. And so there's sort of a in place infrastructure, if you will, in terms of transport. Not that it can't be improved for sure, but there's an in place infrastructure that you have built around travel and tourism, and there's financing availability. There are a lot of players in the industry, both on the on the brand side, on the ownership side, on the operating side. There's just a very big, broad infrastructure, which means that it takes on a life of its own, and it sort of it has a certain amount of momentum. Now that goes up and down, as we know. And I've witnessed in this last few years relative to economic cycles and the like. But by and large, with very few exceptions, in most of the Western world, you don't need a tremendous amount of help from government. So you don't have as much public-private partnership. Now, there are exceptions to that. You think about major convention hotels in major cities, and those are still, I think, for the most part, largely public-private partnership. But otherwise, the industry sort of has enough substance that it has momentum. In emerging parts of the world, meaning emerging economies or economies where travel and tourism is a meaningful component, but where the aspirations are to have it be a much larger component of overall economic growth, which I think is very true in the Middle East, as we were hearing at WTTC, where all of that infrastructure is not placed. I mean, meaning airports, bridges, roads, sort of the financing infrastructure, all of the various industry players may be there, but they may be earlier in their maturation process. It is really important in those circumstances that government work with the private sector to sort of gain that momentum. I suspect, and certainly the hope would be, in the Middle East and in other regions of the world where travel and tourism is sort of, I would say, kind of in its infancy, that when you wake up 10 or 20 years from now, that those markets too will have momentum that will require a lot less public-private partnership. But at the moment, it's needed. And if you go back, historically, and you look at the origins of Hilton, we're a 103-year-old company, and you look at some of the big projects that we did around the world, and in the Western world, in Europe, in the United States, and I can think of, I won't bore you with all the details, but I can think of a bunch of them in my head. I wasn't around, but they're part of the history of the company. They were public-private partnerships. I mean, after World War II, many destinations in Europe, as an example, like the Bosphorus Hilton in Istanbul was a joint venture between the Turkish government, the American government, and Hilton, right, to get that done. And there are hundreds of examples of that around the world. So when it's needed, those public-private partnerships are critical. And I would say, in the Middle East region at the moment, not every market, is a little bit different, but, I still think that, in many of the markets, that partnership is critical. Dubai, where you're sitting, to a degree is probably a little bit less so because that market is ahead from a travel and tourism point of view. I mean, I don't know whether it's a decade, but at least a decade ahead of other parts of the region. And as a result, it has built some of this momentum and some of this base infrastructure, not just transportation infrastructure, but financing infrastructure and the various players and the various component parts that make up travel and tourism. So like Dubai, certainly you could argue has built some of that momentum. But in other parts of the region that are really just getting going, where we were in Riyadh and Saudi Arabia, obviously huge investment going on with in Saudi Arabia in public-private partnership, of which we're fortunate to be part of, to sort of build that infrastructure and gain that momentum.
In terms of the portfolio that you have, one of the things that we've heard to this day, one of the things we heard in Saudi when we were there as well, is a focus on luxury. And Hilton is a brand that spans obviously across the board. It's not just luxury; you span across the board. Do you think we're going overboard with luxury in this part of the world?
No, I don't. In the sense that all of the segments are underbuilt at the moment. I mean, if you look at the demand equation, I mean, we go through cycles of ups and downs everywhere in the world. But if you look at it broadly over time, I think segments of hospitality are sort of underserved in the Middle East region broadly. Now, I'm not going to get into submarket by submarket because we don't have the time for that. But broadly, I'd say all the segments are underrepresented. So no, I don't think broadly that we're going overboard on the high end. I do think, and this is something I say frequently, and in fact, I said it, as you know, on stage at WTTC in Riyadh just a couple weeks ago. I do think that what is critical to build out this infrastructure that I'm talking about for travel and tourism is building a network effect. So that's certainly what we at Hilton are focused on. We love luxury. We love doing Conrads. We love doing Waldorfs. We love doing LXRs everywhere in the world, and particularly in that region. I went and saw 3 brand new Waldorf Astorias in 2 days when I was in the Middle East last 10 days ago. And it brings joy to my heart, and I love luxury, and I'm a luxury customer. But I'm also, I and every other customer have different types of trip occasions that require different products and different price points and different kinds of locations. And so if you look at the most powerful travel and tourism markets, they have built a network effect and are able then to serve people for what their travel needs are as those adapt and change depending on the trip occasion. So what that means to me is you have to cover different product types, different price points to build the network effect. So as an example, using Hilton, you got me, and I have to push my product. The mid-market, like the thing that I don't think gets enough attention anywhere in the world, but certainly does from us. The bulk of the consumers in the world are in the middle class, right? The big trend everywhere in the world and happening in the Middle East as well is growing middle class. That's where you have the greatest growth in the numbers of people. The middle class wants mid-priced product, right? So in the case of Hilton, that would be like Hilton Garden Inn, Hampton by Hilton, True, extended stay might be Homewood, Home2, depending on, again, trip occasion for why people are traveling. Building, a network effect for us, certainly at Hilton, so that we can serve any customer anywhere in the world, including the Middle East, for any need they have, requires that we have those sort of mid-market destinations, those dots on the map. And so as I was at WTTC, it was a point I made, on stage, and I made in individual meetings. It's like, it's great. We're dying to do luxury. We love luxury. I love luxury. We've got incredible growth. Our luxury brands are some of the fastest growing on earth. But if we really want to build out a network effect for travel and tourism, certainly as we think about it at Hilton, we need to make sure that we pay close attention to the mid-market to make sure that in secondary and tertiary markets, we've got dots on the map with good product that allow customers to travel to those destinations, in addition to having the high-end coverage.
Nick, that was very detailed. Let's talk a little about macro. Obviously, you sit on so much of data, right? And so, are you? And we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Are you seeing any weakness anywhere in the world?
We're not. We're not. And I start every Monday.
So I want to tell you, macro means on a big, huge picture, big picture, and micro is small picture. Okay. So when they're building hotels, they're looking at items, like infrastructure, as he was talking about, the connectors from the airports. How do we get all these things, the drainage, even like all this water from a 500-room premium hotel coming up? Where does that go? Does the place have enough water to survive? Do they have enough people to work in that place? So all those things are macroeconomic, okay?
With an executive committee meeting of the top people.
And we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Are you seeing any weakness anywhere in the world?
We're not. We're not. And I start every Monday with an executive committee meeting of the top people in the company that represent the entire world. My first question is, any cracks? Any cracks in the armor in terms of what we're seeing in recovery? Any cracks in any segment? And the honest truth is, we're not. You can see it in the STAR data, like all around the world.
Right.
Obviously China had been and is lagging in recovery. Everything. It's a big world, and every part of the world's a little bit different story. But I would say broadly, the world is in strong recovery mode in our industry, with the exception of China, and that is now morphing to what we think is going to be a strong recovery mode. We will see over the next 60 or 90 days, but it certainly feels like it's going that direction. We can already start to see it in the daily data. But outside of that, in the rest of the world, things continue to be quite strong. Everybody asks me, like, if the world is getting weaker, why do you think that is the case? And now I should be letting you ask me that, Rafat, but I'm now doing my own Q&A. But it is a question everybody's asking. Like, all right, well, the macro, particularly in the West, macro conditions are slowing because central banks are making sure of that. But what's sort of underneath it all is some bigger tailwinds that are allowing us to remain strong in recovery across all segments. And what are those? One is people are definitely shifting spending patterns, going from spending all their time buying things to wanting experience. And that's fabulous for our business. So there's a huge shift back that is still ongoing to people wanting to get out, experience them, given what they've dealt with the last couple of years. The other thing is the world's opening up, right? So, right now the borders are not widely open everywhere, but most everywhere. Hopefully soon China. And so reality is people have built up a lot of needs to go see parts of the world, or desire and need. And so international travel is coming back. And then there's just a significant amount of pent-up demand. Let's be honest, people have pent-up demand for leisure. They got locked up for 2 years. They want to live their life, and they want to have more experiences. All the business trips that people didn't do, they're doing. And look at what we're doing here. Sadly, I'm not there, but because I was there 10 days ago, but like meetings and events, it's off the charts. I mean, I've never been to more meetings in 1 year in my life than I've been in. I think objectively and statistically, that's true. Why? Because we stacked so many different things up across the industry, across our company, that that we've had to get out. And if you look at it in the next year or two, the forward-looking bookings and meetings and events are off the charts. Partly pent-up demand, partly new demand. So you have all of those sort of, all of those tailwinds. And, from a secular point of view, you also have a world becoming, which I think is a longer term tailwind, in addition to people wanting experience more than things, what was happening pre-COVID and now happening. People are more mobile, right? I mean, so think about it. Like during COVID, everybody figured out how to work remotely, and office environments have changed. then I mean they're normalizing to a degree. I mean, you're 100% remote at
Right,
this
that's
point.
correct.
I'm told.
Yes.
And so what does that mean? You're a good example. Your people have to travel. They have to eventually go places. What does that mean? They're staying in our hotels. You're probably hosting meetings, I hope, in Hilton's, not in the competition, because you don't have office space. Well, you may be the more extreme in the sense of being completely remote, but most businesses have become more remote, right? That a significant percentage of their workforce is more mobile. That's a really good long-term secular tailwind for our business. So, listen, there are some headwinds. There's no beating around the bush. The macro environment's going to slow, but these tailwinds that I'm talking about feel quite powerful, and I think will propel us for some period of time through these headwinds.
So you talked about business travel, and let me confess, you were right on business travel. It was
You told me I was going to be wrong.
I
publicly,
did.
as
I did.
recall.
You were right. It early.
It was the day you gave me that really cool slot in New York, the last speaker of the day. I'll never forget.
Yes. But we had a great interview, and
We did. I enjoyed it.
and so one of the things I was reading through your latest earnings calls, and you said on this earnings call, what held up business travel during the pandemic, what is still holding up business in business travel is the small and medium businesses. And you have,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to use the word pivoted, but you've certainly focused on small and medium businesses as your corporate travel side of your business. So talk about that versus the large corporates.
Yeah. Well, we love all our customers. Let me be clear, right? Whether they're small, medium, or big, we love them all, and we want to do a great job serving them. Pre-COVID, this is something I don't think many people focused on. I did, and our team did, but most people outside, our direct ecosystem did. That is 80% of business travel at Hilton was SME, small and medium-sized enterprise. Pre-COVID, it was so the vast majority, super majority of our business travel has always been that type of travel. So that meant 20% for the large corporate, and we love great relationships with many of the large corporate entities that have travel needs. During COVID, okay, what happened to a lot of large corporates, basically slashed all travel,
Right.
both for financial reasons, but also health, safety, where SMEs did not. They just didn't have the luxury of doing it. It's not, first of all, it's not as efficient a market in the sense that, they're small and medium players. They don't necessarily have a travel department, procurement department, and their business is such that they don't have the luxury of saying, I'm not going to travel, because they got to keep the business going. So what we found during COVID is they were much more resilient. I mean, everybody stopped getting COVID, let's be honest. There wasn't anybody traveling, but very rapidly, the SME business recovered because they needed it. And we found it to be much more resilient. During COVID, it was probably 95% of our business and the large corporates had diminished greatly. And now, I wouldn't say we pivoted because it was already 80% of our business, but we probably leaned a little harder on that. And I think we will longer term. So I don't know exactly where we'll end up, but if it ended up at 85-15, it wouldn't surprise me. And we like that. It's more resilient, it's lower beta, it's higher paying business because of the nature of the business. But again, love all our customers. It's not like we're going to say, we don't want to serve the large corporates. Of course, one of the biggest players in the world.
Right.
We need to, and we'll continue to serve them. So I would say it's we're leaning a little bit heavier that direction. We think longer term that is probably better for our ownership in terms of pricing, distribution costs, resiliency, being a lower rate.
Speaking of ownership, you, I would say, have famously sat out.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me, I guess.
I know.
You can. Okay. So you have famously sat out the big M&A gold rush. Would it be fair to say? but you are a deal guy. Your
Yes.
whole life you've been a deal guy. And and you and I talked
Can you
about
imagine a guy that was born and raised on M&A? As I've been at I've been running Hilton 15 years, and we've bought nothing, done zero M&A. Now, to be fair, we've done a lot of really interesting transactions, right? We went private, we went
Right.
public, we broke the company into three pieces, made it three public companies instead of one. So we've done a lot of fun financial engineering and transactional work, but we haven't bought it. We have not. You're right.
so
And
tell me
there's-
what your philosophy is on that.
philosophy is really simple, and that is we're all about basically serving the customer as best we can, giving customers product, service, technology that is reliable in a friendly way, that is better than everybody else, and as a result, they'll pay us a premium. And so as we look at, we have a huge base, obviously, we're 1.1 plus, almost 1.2 million rooms, 7,000 plus hotels, 126 countries. We have a wonderful network, so we have scale. We don't have to do things just to scale. So as we look at the segments that we have, or those that we view might provide an opportunity, we look at how do we deliver the best product for our customers, and how do we do it the way that most advantageous for the shareholders that own the company. And so we look at everything. Ironically, I have an M&A team, as you point out. I have an M&A background. We love looking at things. It's fun. It's fun to analyze them, and we learn things. But the reality is, when we put it through our filter of like, how do we deliver the best product for our customer, and how do we do it the way that's most advantageous for our shareholders? Every time so far, and I suspect that pattern will continue, we determine that we're better off if we see an opportunity developing our own brand. I would say, like, when I got the company, we had 9 brands, we have 19, more than doubled the portfolio brand. They're all successful. They're all doing great. Some of them are a little bit early in gestation. Well, many of them have matured quite rapidly. They're very successful. Why? Because we have designed these in a modern context around exactly what customers want, and we built it out of the dust. We built it with our own blood, sweat, and tears, rather than paying a big price. It's been great for our shareholders. Infinite yields effectively by creating these and creating brands really resonate with our customers. I would say that's why when you look at our market share, you got all the Smith Travel numbers, you would see on average our brands significantly outperform any other portfolio brands in the business. So when we look at things, it's not that we don't like things. It's just every time we look at it, we realize everything has, we don't want to have to go fix other people's problems when we already have scale, and we become very good at organic brand development, and we can deliver very precisely what we think the customer wants.
You and I have talked about this many times before, but you're also a company that has famously sat out anything in the alternative accommodation world. And you want to stick to hotels. You've told me many times we're going to continue to stick to hotels. For the benefit of this audience, what's your latest thinking on it?
Same. Well, let me be clear. Yes, you're accurately describing our conversation. We are in, to a degree, alternative accommodation. Think about it. I mean, we have, residences for Waldorfs and Conrads. We have Hilton residences all over the world. So, basically, Hilton apartments in various regions of the world. That's not been a big thing in the U.S., but in other regions of the world, we haven't. One of our spin companies was Hilton Grand Vacations, which is clearly an alternative accommodation. And we have a 100-year relationship with them, with their brands. And so we're in the alternative accommodation business that way. The other way we're sort of in it, if you think about it, is in the extended stay business. And I think there may be more opportunities in that arena, which is sort of a bridge. That's not a traditional hotel business. It's for a different stay occasion, and you can think about the spectrum of extended stay that could go even further out relative to the brands that we have. And I'll leave it at that. We're always looking at those at those options. So we're in the alternative accommodation market in a pretty big way if you aggregate all that. What we're not in, which is what you and I talked about, is home sharing.
Right.
And the reason that we're not in it is not that we don't think it's a good business. I think it's a great business. And some of our customers like it, use it. And when we talk to them, it's something, that for certain stay occasions they like, but it's not why they come to us. Why they come to us is because, and pay us a big premium, is because we deliver high quality, consistent product, service, amenities, loyalty program, technology that connects all the dots together, and in the end deliver what we hope is a very reliable, high quality, friendly experience in a way that we just don't think can be done in that other environment. Again,
Right.
for a certain stay occasion, a value, leisure, more extended stay, higher occupancy, kind of stay occasion, if that makes sense. But it's a different sort of value prop. The whole strategy of our company, if there's no other takeaway, we want to be the premium player. We're
Right.
not the value player. So even at our lowest price, like True or Hampton, if you look at the average market share of those brands, they're 120 to 135% market share. So even at those lower price points, we're getting a 20 to 35% on average premium. So we think about everything in the context, like we want to be the premium player in those segments. We deliver at the various price points for the various product types, the best experience, the best product, the best technology for our customers. They'll continue to seek us out and pay a premium. So we're not, well, we can't do that. And we believe it is very difficult, if not possible, to do it the same way in home sharing.
Right.
Then we're not interested at the moment in participating. In the other areas that we talked about, Hilton Grand Vacation, Hilton Residence, Waldorf, we can,
Right.
we can deliver on that promise to our
Promise,
customer, if
hospitality.
you will, in a way that we just don't think we can in home sharing. So home sharing is the sort of one element
One
where we are
Right.
still very much of mind, not something that we should or need to be doing, or frankly, when we talk to our customers, they really want us.
Right. We have about a minute or two left. You, as I mentioned, you're also very active at the government level. I would be remiss not to ask about the visa wait times to US and sort of your views on why that needs to change. For those of you who don't know, if you need a visa to come to US, the wait times in many parts of the world is now incredibly long. For astronomically, and from India, it's now crossed in Mumbai. It crossed 1,000 days to get an appointment to get a visa to US. And so obviously US is losing out in a huge way on tourism boom that's going on all around the world. So from your perspective, what do you think the industry can do?
Well, we're working very hard on it. Okay, I've been working for most of my career. I mean, I can remember during early days of Obama years, his first administration, same thing. We had wait times from Brazil, India, China. They were 6 months, 9 months, and we were really losing a lot of the travel flow as a result. And worked very hard with the administration. To their credit, they heaven and earth. They drove all of the wait times way down. And the country benefited in a significant way. I think we got out of whack by no malicious intent, honestly.
Right.
I think COVID, I think that governments broadly and our government here has had a lot on its plate to deal with. And we didn't have borders open, for the last couple of years in a significant way. And so I just think I think those muscles atrophied a bit, but we're very focused on it. Starting, I believe in March, I take over as chair of the U.S. Travel Association,
Right.
USDA. One of our primary objectives here already, while I'm not chair yet, been very active. We are actively engaged at all levels of government to continue to work on that. And I'm optimistic that we will. Again, it's like anything, it just takes focus. It's sort of mom and apple pie in the sense. Export the country, good economy, good job. It just requires the focus and attention. And I think as things more away from COVID and health and border restrictions to more policies that are focused on opening borders, I think we'll have great success. So one of the most important things I would do in the new year as I take over care of best travel. So,
All right, with that, we come to an end. Chris, how was this experience for you so far?
it was great. I don't know how was it for everybody there. How was it for you?
Well, people, I guess they're clapping, so they seem to
All right.
enjoy it.
I can
You-
see the crowd.
you can't see the crowd there. We had to put the lights down because obviously this is being beamed in, but I just,
Oh, yeah, it's dark. I see some shadows in the crowd.
you said the shadows in the crowd, but
No, I'm really sad I can't be there. I'd love to buy and Skip. You guys are terrific. Such a good job covering. I always say to Rafat, you can be tough, but you're fair. You cover the issue well, and we love the partnership we have. Industry is better for you.
thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, so I hope it wasn't too boring. I mean, where else have you seen hologram of a company president coming down in a hologram? Where else have you seen that? Or which other class have you seen that? Anybody?
Yes.
Have you guys seen anything like that before? Like a hologram,
No.
like 3D coming down and talking to you? Okay, amazing, right? Only in the hospitality business. Imagine how much money had to go for that. Okay, so let's take a quick break and then we'll start talking about structures, okay? Okay, where is everybody? You guys not speaking?
Yes, I'm here, teacher.
Yeah, I'm speaking.
Okay, good. Any questions from the video?
Yeah, very confused, Professor.
Yeah, but you have to listen to it again, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, right.
Yeah, what was confusing?
Uh, I don't get it what they're talking about.
Just talking about development of hotels and all that stuff. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know, but the import this is how to say, I don't the point, I don't know what they're talking about, the point.
Okay, you hear he was answering questions, right?
Yes,
So that is
right.
The point is he's answering the questions.
Yeah, but I will see the recording again.
Yeah, watch
Yeah,
the
right.
recording again. Yeah, I think that'll help. Yes.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Okay, watch it again. Good. Good, let's take, so what is it, 7:24? Let's take like a 15-20 minute break. Go make some tea, do whatever you got to do with your family, and then come back, okay?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. About 40 will start, 40, 45 will start, okay? Everybody here?
Yes.
Okay, good. So structure, okay? If I went through this chapter, let me know I did or not, okay? So when you pinch in, now it's going to make sense for you a little bit, okay? So when you have hotels, maybe it's called Marriott, okay? That does not mean that Marriott owns the hotel, okay? Understand? It's not like a house that you're making payments, so you own the house,
Okay, yep.
okay? Because it is so much money. The land itself is owned by somebody, okay? The building is probably owned by somebody else, okay? And then the hotel is managed by somebody else. And they might be flying a flag of somebody else. Got it?
Yes,
Okay.
Professor.
It might be a Marriott flag, okay? It might be a Marriott flag. That doesn't mean Marriott is running the hotel. They are just running it to Marriott standards. Remember that. Just because it's a Dunkin' Donuts doesn't mean Dunkin' Donuts is running the restaurant. Okay?
Yes.
It could be Joy Bell's company that is running the Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, because she has the lease. And then she gives the lease to Lipping Leo, who's managing the
I'm here, Professor.
Who's managing
I'm here.
I know you're here. Who's managing the Dunkin' Donuts, okay? Got it? So there are many, and there's somebody else who owns the property. And might be a management company that's managing the building. Okay, and then there might be somebody else that's managing everything that's outside the everything that's outside the building. Okay, they're in charge of the curb appeal and all that stuff. And there might be a different company that's running the parking lot. No, it's not a chain of command. Chain of command is a brigade within the same organization. So when you're running a hotel, there might be 6 or 7 different companies that are involved. Okay, so now understand that all you're doing is selling a room. And you have all these things that are involved. All these companies that are involved. Okay, and sometimes they're owner operated. In these big cities that we live in, no individual owner wants to invest all their money into a hotel, into a property, and manage it themselves and all that stuff. Not possible. Not possible. Okay, so there are many layers that are out there. Okay, and everybody is looking for everybody who has put in money, whether they're the management company, whether they are the owners, whether they are the property managers, whoever it is, or the bank, they are looking for return on investment. Okay, they have put in money and they expect that money to make money for them. You and me work hard for a living, right? We have to put in our money, we have to put in our time, and then we make money. But these owners and the banks, they're putting their money to make money. And that is called return on investment. The management company has a set fee that they have to get. Okay, the property manager has a set fee that he has to get or she has to get. The building owner has a set fee that he has to get. The property, the land, whoever owns the land, you know, has a set lease amount that they have to get. And most usually hotels, the ownership changes every about 7 years. Because the owners, you know, all they care about is making money. Honestly, that's all they care about. The banks, all they care about is making money, is getting a return on their investment, and they're out. Okay, once a property is about 7 years old, it becomes old. Think about it. By that time, 7 years, the beds are gone. The carpets get dirty. The doors and the windows have new technology. They need to be changed. Right? The accessories that are used in the hotel are old. All those things become old. And as they become old, their value goes down. And that is called depreciation. But the value of the property goes up as more money is made in that property. The value of the property goes up. That is called appreciation. Okay? As good owners are running the as good, not owners, as good operators are running the property, the management company is increasing occupancy, increasing the daily rate, okay, and thereby increasing revenue per available room. Okay, occupancy means number of rooms that are sold. Okay, the more rooms that are sold at a higher price above a certain point, they're making money. Okay, and they're getting a cut of the money. And that cut of the money has to be divided amongst everybody. Right? Okay, so understand return on investment, ROI. So how is that calculated? Income after taxes divided by investment is return on investment. Income after taxes divided by total hotel investment. Return on investment. This formula has been the same for years, okay? There's nothing new with this formula. Remember that. I learned this formula. My dad learned this formula. You're learning this formula. Your kids are going to learn this formula. Their kids are going to learn this formula. Return on investment does not change. Okay? In the business, there are two assets. So one is the real estate. What is the real estate? The real estate is the value of the property, of the land and buildings going up. Okay? And then the other asset is the operating business. The business of selling rooms and the business of maximizing profits. That has nothing to do with the property. or the real estate right now. Okay? Clear? I spoke about depreciation. I spoke about appreciation. Okay? The general manager of the hotel is responsible for the whole system. Remember that. The general manager is responsible for the whole system. He reports to the owners. He reports, the management company reports to him. The parking company reports to him, and he coordinates everything. Again, he is or she is the final decision maker. Okay? Debbie Lewis, I don't know if any of you have had her class. She used to be a general manager. Okay? So their responsibility is the final decision making regarding property specific policies and procedures. The general manager is the leader of the hotel's management team. Okay? The management company, I used to work for a management company. It's an organization that operates a hotel for a fee. So Joybell is the property owner, but Joybell has money, but she has no expertise in running a hotel. So she contracts it to us. And Interstate Hotel Corporation at that time ran Marriott's. And we were the largest Marriott franchisees in the United States at that point in time. We did Hilton's and Hyatt's too, but I was focused on Marriott's. Okay? So a lot of times, owners own land and property in depressed markets. Okay? You know, there are places in Queens that you wouldn't want to have a hotel, but the hotel is there. Okay? But there are places in Bronx that you wouldn't want to have a hotel, but there are hotels there. So what happens is we manage that hotel for 4 or 5 years, increase the value of the property, of the place, of the surrounding areas, boom, and sell it to somebody. And sell it to somebody, okay? So that was the way out. Okay, so management companies' expertise is to figure out how to increase occupancy, make the hotel a safe place, increase revenue, show it on the books, do some renovations, and boom, call it a day, done. Okay, so depressed. Think about when you're depressed, you don't feel like doing anything. Okay, little bit makes you sick. Okay, little bit of stuff, you're like, oh no. So think about if I am depressed. Okay, every little thing annoys me. Okay, so in a depressed market, in the hotel world, every little thing is important. Okay, it's hard to find people to work there sometimes. They call out, they don't show up. Okay, you get some, people that you don't want them to be there. They ruin the room. You have to call the cops. All that stuff happens. Okay, so understand that there's a role for of everybody in the marketplace, in the hospitality marketplace. Okay, sometimes when there is bankruptcy and the bank takes over the hotel because they cannot make the payments, so the bank takes over the loan and the building. Okay, banks don't know how to run a hotel. So the management company manages the hotel for permanent closing. Maybe there was never supposed to be a hotel there. So they, make it into something else. Maybe they make apartments out of it. Maybe they break the whole thing and do something else. Build a park. Sell it to the city. They turn into senior housing. Okay, or turn it into, housing for poor people. And then slowly the flag comes out and then it turns into something else. Okay, you need a management company because all of a sudden if the general manager resigns, what happens? He controls or she controls everything. And nobody else knows anything. So now, guess what? There's a standard. The management company sends another general manager to take over in a short period of time. Okay, the management companies generate reliable financial data about the hotel. They establish suitable staffing to maximize guest and employee satisfaction. Show the hotel to prospective buyers. Report regularly to owners about the hotel's physical and financial condition. So now, there are different tiers of management company. Just like trains, planes have first class, business class, coach class, economy class. So the first class are the first tier management companies. Guess what? They operate hotels for owners. with the management company's trademark as the hotel brand. When I worked for Marriott Management Services, so we were managing Marriott's. Under the Marriott Management Service logo with the Marriott flag. Okay, that's the first tier management company. Those are the, like the primo, first class. Then there are second class. That's like the business class. Okay, and then of course there are a bunch of other classes, right? Which are there because they are there, okay? Okay, management companies really don't take the actual risk or ownership of the hotels. They just manage. All right, is that clear? Does everybody understand management, right? So the management company is not just a company, it's a partner. They work for the owners. And they also work for the guests. Okay, because if they can keep the guests satisfied, they can have good revenues, the owners will be happy with the rate of return investment. So management companies have management contracts. So there's a length of agreement. So there's a contract which is actually signed. It's a legal paper that's signed. So if there's a breakup, you need to actually explain what the breakup is for. The contract says, when can you break up? What happens if you break up? How much money will you get if you break up? And if you want to stay longer, what will you get? What is the process if you want to stay longer? What happens if the hotel is sold? What happens for incentive if, you know, we oversell hotels and make a lot more money than what your expected return is? And if you can't make enough money, then there are penalties. So all those things are actually mentioned in the contract. And then there are insurance requirements. Who carries the insurance? That's a big deal. Insurance is a big deal. Remember that. So in case of a liable damage, do the owners get sued? Or does the management company's insurance company take over? It's a big deal. So with who must carry the insurance and how much? So some of the pros and cons, advantages are the quality is good. Management quality is good because management companies hire quality candidates. And they put them in places so they are documented that they are good managers. So the payment can be, for services can be tied to performance. Some of the disadvantages is that the owner cannot control the on-site GM or other high-level managers. Some talented managers might leave frequently because the management company keeps moving their employees all around the place as new contracts come in, and they get more and more talented. Okay, so sometimes there are some conflicts between the objectives of the management company and the objective of the owners. They might really like a management candidate, but then they get posted somewhere else. Okay, the transfer of ownership from one management company or from one flag to another might be complicated. So there's a buyout. That's an agreement where both parties say if they split, this is what happens. This is what you get, and this is what you get. It's like a prenuptial agreement, before marriage agreement, okay? So franchise, like Dunkin' Donuts, franchise, right? Marriott sells franchises. Again, it's an arrangement where one party allows another party to use its logo, brand name, systems, resources in exchange for a fee. Okay, franchisor, remember, spell it properly and you'll know what this is. Owner. They are the owner of the brand. Franchisee. Two eyes, they see, they are the operators, they are the ones that's managing the concept, the brand at that time. Like a Dunkin' Donuts, the franchisee is the one that's running the daily operation of that Dunkin' Donuts across the street from each of you. The franchisor is sitting somewhere in Massachusetts and giving out licenses to the franchisee. Okay, for X amount of dollars. And the brand is called a franchise. If anyone is unclear at all about this, please let me know now. Any questions? Nobody has a question about this, right?
No, teacher, I think no.
Okay. So that Dunkin' Donuts example was good, right? So Marriott, same way, okay?
Teacher,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Go ahead, Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes, Dunkin' Donuts is the franchise or is the company?
Yes, franchisor.
Excuse me.
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
You're
But
right.
but who buy the Dunkin' Donuts? Some people want to buy the franchise. How do you pronunciation franchise?
Franchise.
Franchise. Who buy the franchise?
You.
Me. I can buy the franchise for
Right.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Other question, teacher, but I need to conserve the name, no?
So you are running a coffee shop
Yes.
as the NATO coffee shop, right?
Mhm.
If you don't want it, Dunkin' Donuts, if you change, you buy the franchise, then you cannot call it NATO.
Okay.
Okay?
I understand.
You have to do whatever Dunkin' Donuts tells you.
Okay. Thank you.
Understand? You have to use the equipment that they tell you.
I don't have any secrets. You need to do it. Just get it quickly.
What is that?
Sometimes got my socks after taking them off, and if they don't go, I sit my wear them again.
Thank you, Ms. Joy Bell.
Sorry, I have a question, teacher. When is the franchisor? Is
Franchisee or franchisor?
franchisor? It's necessary to follow the rules for um the the proprietary, the first proprietary, or maybe I can put in my rules. You know, for
No,
example,
you cannot put your rule. You have to follow their rules.
their rules. When
Their
it's my franchisor,
if you are the franchisor,
it's
it's
my
your rules.
Mm. You know, but because in this supposed to be case, I'm by something Donkey Donor, but I'm the owner. But
Doesn't matter.
Donkey Donor is.
You have to listen to Dunkin', whatever Dunkin' Donuts tells you.
Okay.
Sorry.
I know. I heard something similar of that. I mean, I say, but are you the owner? Yes, but it's not my business. Literally, it's not my. I mean, really? You know how you put your money?
Yeah. You're putting the money, but that's everything is yours.
Well, then he's not the person. I just need to follow everything in the rules,
You have
because
to follow
sometimes
because that's why people buy franchises. People
Okay.
buy franchises because Joybell might not have everything available. Okay.
it's then when I rent out a little space.
Huh?
It's then when you rent a little space.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. These things haven't changed, okay? And brand. Remember, Dunkin' Donuts is a brand. Marriott is a brand. Holiday Inn is a brand. Hyatt is a brand. Make sure you're able to say these words, pronounce them properly, learn how to pronounce franchise, franchisee, franchisor. Say it slowly 100 times so you know. Brand. Okay? So conversion is when changes from Marriott to Hyatt. That's a conversion, okay? Also known as reflagging, because Marriott has a flag, right? And Hilton has a flag. I don't know if you know that. They all have flags. Their flags too, with Marriott written on it. So their flags change. The signs change. Everything changes. Franchises, hotel franchises, franchisees pay anywhere between 3 to 15% of room revenue to the owners, franchisors, okay? And then they might pay a percentage, okay? Because the brand, like Marriott, like think about it, like Dunkin' Donuts, okay? I'm going to say Dunkin' Donuts right now. I have an app in my phone for Dunkin' Donuts, okay? Wherever I go, I can just look in the app and order my coffee, right? And it's going to be the same. So the app is like a reservation system that I can order ahead. So Marriott Hotel is like a reservation system. Okay? Got it? Clear?
Yes, Bishop.
Okay. So now, because you're using the reservation system, you have to pay something, right? Remember, return on investment on the reservation system, right? Because you need to invest in computers, you need to invest in people, you need to invest in software, all that stuff. They want money back. They want some return. Okay? And there's an agreement that they have to sign. That's like a contract. That whatever you use has to be from the franchise, from the brand. If they tell you you only have to use iPhones, you only have to use iPhones. You cannot use an Android. If they tell you you have to drink, you have to have Pepsi, you have to have Pepsi. That's it. I worked at properties where the contract was all Coca-Cola or all Pepsi-Cola. Imagine when Marriott switched all the way to Coca-Cola. They said in all our 80,000 properties, we are going to serve Coca-Cola. Imagine how big that was for Coca-Cola. Okay, the Federal Trade Commission is the one that is responsible for holding the franchises accountable for everything. Okay, the Federal Trade Commission. They manage all franchises. So you cannot just so Joy Bell cannot just set up a franchise. Oh, I have a coffee shop, you can make $1 million. She has to prove that people can make $1 million, okay? Or else it'll be fraud. Remember that, it'll be fraud. Okay? So there has to be a standard. Just like the Starbucks, you go to the Starbucks, that's a franchise. Dunkin' Donuts, franchise. What else is a franchise? Holiday Inns, franchise. Okay, Residence Inn, Hampton Inns, Marriott's, Sheraton's, franchise. The brands. Okay, and also within the franchise, there is a franchise service director who is responsible to check, make sure all the franchisees are doing their job right. So he goes or she goes and does inspections and also helps with the sales efforts. Then they monitor hotel performance by these formulas. Average daily rate, occupancy percentages, and then RevPARs, revenue per available room. Okay, see these formulas? Make sure you memorize these formulas. Please memorize these formulas. You have to memorize these formulas. Okay, and once you memorize those formulas, you will remember them for the rest of your life. Seriously. You will remember them for the rest of your life. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so from chapter 1, you will see those formulas, okay? And chapter 2, you need to remember, memorize, please memorize. Return on investment, franchise, franchisee, and franchisor, okay? What did you say, Ms. Nieto?
Yes, we need to memorize the formula,
Yeah.
but when and how we need use the formulas.
It's in chapter 1.
Yes, but when we need to apply the formulas, where?
Oh, I will ask you in class.
Okay.
No good.
No, yes, teacher. Okay.
Not understand. Sorry, no comprehend. Okay, Julan Gao. Why are you answering all the questions? You only have to answer one question, one page. Okay? That means you did not go through or you did not listen to what we talked about in the other classes. Okay. Ping Chin, I still do not have your homework, okay?
I submit already the homework.
No, you submitted. What you did was you just submitted the questions.
I submit the question. Oh.
You want to see what you did? 2 lines. You're supposed to do one question, one whole page. Okay? So do the same thing. Okay? I have talked about this in class, and I have even written things down. Okay, Miss Joybell, same thing. 0. Who else? This is my class. You have to listen. See? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Again, 0.
I do it. I don't know what happened. Let me see my computer.
Okay, where is your answer? Uh-oh, 0. I don't need that. I don't need 4 lines. That's not how you do things. Okay, so let's look at files. See, I put this thing here so you can memorize, remember? Okay. Discussion questions, all that stuff. I went through this before. Why is it not opening up? How to format homework for Professor Roy Chowdhury. Oh my goodness, what's going on? Oh, because it's open in 2 places, that's why. How to format homework for Professor Roy Chowdhury. It's right here. I went through that. The format. None of you followed the format. Nobody. I never once said, go to the back of the chapter and write 2 lines. Did I ever say that? I showed you this. This is how it's supposed to be, and you're supposed to start there.
To say for the form for the do the homework. But I do it and check that. But I know I understand that.
Yeah, it would have been weird if it had worked. Oh yeah, you're not an idiot.
Okay, so it's very important that you follow.
So, Professor, you can show me where is the form again? Yes.
Yeah, Professor, can you repeat again? The homework is wrong.
Yeah, you just have to answer 1 question. I said that twice already. Out of all these 10 questions, you need to answer 1 question. And the answer needs to be 1 page. Okay, and a template like this. Class, chapter, question number. Don't write the question. Don't say, okay, listen to me. Don't need to write the question over again over here. Just write the question number here, your name, the date, and then mine should be in a footer. Okay, this should be in a header, and whatever goes in here, you need to write. Go over what I talked about in the last class, okay? About the introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay, how to influence your readers, how to engage your readers, and how to generate chances. Okay, the margins are all right here. I spoke about this. If you want to be in this class, you guys got to follow my rules, okay? Formulas are right here. Everything is right here. We went over these formulas. Okay? And remember, I even put this here as a sample. This is how your paper should look like. And I even said, maybe it won't be as perfect as this one, but if it can come close, okay? Okay? All right. That's it for today.
I can send the homework again.
Yes, you can. Everybody can. Yes, you can.
Okay, I go to the again. Thank you, Professor.
Okay?
Professor, I only pick one, only one, right? And then I write 1 page, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's it, right? Oh,
That's it.
oh, before is my homework is wrong. The question, I don't need to answer all of them, or just only answer the 1 question?
Only 1 question.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
never said all.
Got you. Yep.
I never said all. Okay, you guys can go now.
Thank you, teacher.
Professor.
Yeah, you're welcome. Please, let's get this done, okay?
Can I submit you for next week, Professor?
Yeah,
Okay, because too much homework.
I know it's going to be just one question. That's all I say is one question. I know you have a lot to do, so one question.
Okay.
That's all I want. One question.
Okay, good night, Professor.
Okay, good night. Thank you. Have a nice week.
Night, teacher.
Okay, good night.
Good night, teacher. Professor,
Yes, good night.
thank you. Class 2 homework.
Yeah, chapter 2 homework, one question.
10 question.
Only answer only one question.
Only one question. Only one test. I see class 10 question.
But
Professor,
yeah,
you said only one question to answer, yeah?
yes.
How about the writing mean body?
What?
You said the 10 question you try is only one question.
Yeah, answer only one question.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, and one question, one page, okay?
Oh, okay. One question, one page. Not 10 questions, yeah?
Not 10 questions.
Okay, thank you. Good
Yeah.
night, Professor.
Good night. Thank you.
Can I send again?
Yes, you can send me again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to return it tonight. I'm going to leave it in the lot tonight. Okay, thank you. Thank you.